Right now on Good Morning America, first look, an immigration officer fatally shoots a man in his car, Maine. What ICE is now saying about the encounter.
Oil and gas prices rising as the U.S. and Iran fight over control over the crucial Strait of Hormuz. New video of U.S. airstrikes overnight as President Trump announces a new plan.
The debate over data centers in the U.S. for big tech companies, and now one of the biggest ones yet. So big, it needs 10 power plants to supply the electricity it uses.
The grandfather attacked by a bison at Yellowstone now describing the terrifying encounter.
We hear from this food delivery driver who was hit by a car and still made sure the customer got their delivery.
Plus, the new push to stop a major Hollywood merger.
The effort to save dozens of dolphins after a record-setting mass stranding.
And the World Cup superstar with an unusual carry-on, a raccoon.
From ABC News, this is Good Morning America, First Look.
Good Tuesday morning, everyone. I'm Sophie Flay.
And I'm Hannah Battah. We begin with that deadly shooting involving an immigration officer in Maine.
ICE has released new information as we learn more details about the victim. Here's ABC's Lana Moise.
This morning, new images after a deadly ICE-involved shooting in Maine. Neighbors heard up to 5 gunshots. The man's white car then seen here after the shooting, slowly moving in a circle, an immigration officer running, trying to open the driver's door. Seconds later, officers take out what appears to be a motionless body.
I heard the young man say, "I tried to stop." Clearly heard him say that. I tried to stop, or I tried to pull over.
The victim, identified in local media as 26-year-old Joan Sebastian Guerrero from Colombia. He was reportedly on his way to work. Immigration advocates say he had a social security number and was authorized to work in the U.S. A witness says an officer at the scene claimed the driver had tried to run him over.
His head was bloodied, his face was bloody. It was awful.
The windshield of the car left covered in bullets. ICE says the man was not the intended target, saying ICE law enforcement attempted to conduct a vehicle stop. The vehicle attempted to flee the scene, and fearing for public safety, an officer discharged his weapon.
Right. Bottom line is you have to either fear for your own safety or the safety of others. And so far, we haven't seen evidence of that.
Last night, vigils and demonstrations protesting the shooting. It comes less than a week after an ICE agent killed an undocumented immigrant in Houston. Agents claimed he threatened them with his vehicle. The New York Times reports the fatal shot was fired into an open passenger window. And in a separate development, months after the shooting deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy by immigration officers in Minneapolis, federal officials have now shared evidence with state investigators.
Some of the physical evidence that was previously withheld, including Renee Good's car. It has been rightfully demanded by our community for the past 6 months.
The attorney for Good's family calling it an important and meaningful step towards justice and accountability. The ICE-involved shooting in Maine is the 9th recorded death since the start of the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. And in this case, as well as the Houston case, officers were not wearing body cameras. Homeland Security says body cameras are being rolled out. Hannah, Sophie.
Lionel, thank you. A deputy U.S. Marshal has been shot and killed in Louisiana while serving a warrant. Authorities say officers in Alexandria were trying to take a fugitive into custody. The suspect was arrested after a standoff.
Gas prices are set to rise as the U.S. and Iran battle over control of the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. launching a new round of airstrikes overnight as it prepares to impose a new blockade in the region today. ABC's Karen Hua has the details. Karen, good morning.
Hannah, good morning. Iran claims it's shut down the Strait of Hormuz, a critical waterway for global oil shipments. This follows another round of U.S. airstrikes overnight, targeting Iran's ability to attack ships in the region. For the first time, the U.S. is using seaborne drones to carry out strikes. President Trump now vows the U.S. will control the Strait of Hormuz, and Trump now wants to charge a 20% fee on all cargo passing through it. He doesn't say how he would do that.
I want to be reimbursed because we're protecting a very rich portion of the world. We're spending money. And so what we've done is we are going to be reimbursed for protection.
Trump's own Secretary of State Marco Rubio recently said such a plan would not be allowed under international law. The markets are reacting to the uncertainty. Oil prices just saw the biggest one-day jump since the pandemic, and analysts predict average gas prices in the U.S. will once again top $4 per gallon within a week. Sophie?
We'll have to keep an eye on that. Karen, thank you. Lindsey Graham's sister will be sworn in today to replace him in the Senate following his unexpected death. Darlene Graham Nordone was appointed by South Carolina's governor to serve the rest of Graham's term. Graham raised her after both their parents died when she was still a child. She'll soon sit at his desk in the Senate chamber, which is now draped in black. She says stepping in for her brother is what he would have wanted.
Lindsey has always been there for me, and now I will be there for him. Now to Lindsey, I miss you more than I can even put into words. But I'm going to do this. I got it.
A special election will be held August 11th to fill Graham's spot on the November ballot.
We turn now to the debate over data centers that power big technology. They've sparked debate across the country because of how much electricity and water they use. But now Meta is planning its largest one yet.
It's being called one of the largest investments in artificial intelligence infrastructure in the world, and it's being built in one of the poorest areas of Louisiana.
That is opportunity. That is how you lift people out of poverty. That's how you fix a broken state.
Facebook parent company Meta is more than doubling the size of its data center in Richland Parish, a $50 billion project so big 10 power plants need to be built to supply it with electricity. The governor praising the economic impact.
It's going to create 7,500 construction jobs, more than 1,000 permanent high-paying jobs, nearly 1,900 additional indirect jobs.
The data center could eventually use 6 times more power per day than the entire city of New Orleans on the hottest day of summer. Meta says it will pay for the new power plants and for upgrades to roads and water systems.
We want to be the very best partners that this state could possibly have.
The company says it struck a deal that will bring down local homeowners' electric bills, but some consumer advocates not satisfied.
It's not just residents in Richland Parish, it's all Entergy Louisiana customers that bear the risk of this project.
Critics also pointing to the lucrative state tax breaks given to Meta, but supporters say tax revenue from the project is already changing lives, helping to fund bonuses of up to $50,000 for local teachers.
My retirement, because of the bonuses, just doubled. My daughter's not going to have to worry.
The governor is now requiring data centers to pay for their own power infrastructure to qualify for state tax breaks.
New details about the parasite outbreak that has sickened thousands of people across the country. Officials in Michigan believe lettuce or salad greens may be the source of cyclosporiasis cases in the state. But experts say people in other states could be getting infected in other ways. Officials recommend buying whole heads of lettuce instead of bagged salad, and be sure to wash the inner leaves.
Animal advocates say a record number of dolphins have become stranded near Cape Cod, Massachusetts. At least 34 got stuck in shallow water yesterday. Most returned as the tide rose, but up to 6 dolphins did not survive. Once freed, the survivors were guided by rescuers who will be on the lookout again today.
Turning to the weather, drivers in Houston should get used to these flooded roads for the next few days. There's more rain on the way today, and some areas of Texas could see 6 inches by Thursday. Elsewhere, the big story is the heat. Let's check your Tuesday forecast.
Good morning. 120 million Americans under some sort of heat alert. From California all the way to Maine, the worst of this is over the upper plains and parts of the Intermountain West. These record cities here, Rapid City circled here, 104, 100 could be reached in Fargo, North Dakota. Also a place like Syracuse getting all the way up to 98 degrees. Check out these records that could fall, including Rapid City, Fargo, Milwaukee as we head into the day tomorrow. The heat wave in the Northeast peaks out as we head into the day on Wednesday. Meteorologist Jeff Smith, ABC News.
Coming up, Tylenol heads back to court in a controversial medical case.
But first, the dangerous scene playing out behind a TV reporter, a rafting trip in that creek behind him turning into a nightmare.
And the grandfather attacked by this bison at Yellowstone now speaking out. His surprising message next. We're back with these military cadets jumping into the water to rescue the driver of that sinking car. This happened in northern Italy. It's unclear why the vehicle ended up in the water. The rescue earned the cadets high praise from Italy's defense minister. The car was later pulled out of the water by a crane.
Now to another rescue playing out, this time in a fast-moving creek in Idaho, just as a local journalist was recording a news story feet away.
When her raft flipped and she was stranded in those trees. Oh.
This is the moment reporter Brady Caskey from our station in Boise was recording a story along Indian Creek in Kuna, Idaho, when boats behind him started flipping. One family in a canoe flipping into the water with their baby, who was wearing a life jacket. The family appeared to make it out of the river safely on their own. But here's the thing. Caskey was there covering a near drowning at that very spot where just days earlier, a woman flipped her tube and went under.
I was panicking. Like, my first thought when I first flipped is, you're gonna die. You're gonna die, like, this is it.
Ashlyn Monroe says she was trapped underwater for about 40 seconds before grabbing a branch and pulling herself up, the current pinning her against the trees. A neighbor called 911, and firefighter Trenton Hogan swam across the rapids to reach her.
I introduced myself, actually, just like how you would a normal person at the grocery store, right? Hi, my name's Trenton. What's yours?
Hogan got her into a life jacket, and his team was able to safely get her to dry land.
It was scary. It was the scariest thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Fire officials say that video shows the importance of wearing a life jacket that fits and having an experienced guide.
We're now hearing from the grandfather attacked by a bison in Yellowstone National Park. 65-year-old Carl Ison McDaniel says he's okay after being thrown 8 feet into the air. He suffered a broken thigh bone and needed surgery. He says he's thankful to be alive, and the bison could have easily killed him as he was lying on the ground unable to move. His grandson is okay.
An appeals court has revived hundreds of lawsuits seeking to link Tylenol to autism and ADHD. The judge says a lower court should not have excluded scientific evidence from expert witnesses on the impact of Tylenol use during pregnancy. But they caution that their ruling should not be considered as evidence of a causal relationship. The link remains unproven, and most doctors say Tylenol is the safest option for pregnant women. Coming up, the new push to stop a major Hollywood merger affecting popular movies and TV shows.
Also ahead, something that's never happened before at the Home Run Derby.
Back now with Jordan Walker of the St. Louis Cardinals hitting 6 straight homers in the final round to win last night's Home Run Derby in Philadelphia. Walker is the first Cardinals player to ever win it. The Derby was a family affair for Ben Rice of the Yankees. His father, a former college player, was pitching. Dad might want to ease up next time. Rice only hit 7 home runs and was eliminated in the first round. Hey, and check out this police officer. He caught one of the home runs last night, snagging a souvenir while on duty.
We turn now to a legal battle to stop a major media merger affecting everything from movie studios to streaming platforms like HBO Max.
This morning, a dozen states are suing to block the biggest merger in Hollywood history, Paramount's $110 billion takeover of Warner Brothers Discovery. California's Attorney General announcing the lawsuit with the Hollywood sign behind him, saying the merger would extinguish competition.
It would result in higher prices, lower content quality, and fewer movies and TV shows.
The lawsuit claims the combined company would control nearly 1/3 of all movies in theaters and nearly 1/3 of basic cable programming, including 50 of the most popular channels. Arizona's state attorney general explained why her state is joining California in suing.
When fewer films are available, theaters may be forced to raise ticket prices to remain viable, and Arizona consumers bear those costs.
Paramount firing back, calling the lawsuit wrong on the facts and the law, arguing the merger is needed to better compete with streaming giants like Netflix and Amazon, saying delaying this transaction will only harm entertainment workers. The stakes for California could be even higher. The news site Semaphore reports Paramount CEO David Ellison's advisors have pushed him to consider moving the company out of the state, Paramount not responding to that report.
The Justice Department approved the deal last month, but California and the 11 other states are asking the companies not to finalize the merger until the lawsuit is resolved. They say they'll seek a restraining order if the companies refuse.
2 Supreme Court justices head to Capitol Hill today. Amy Coney Barrett and Elena Kagan will testify about the court's budget request, including millions more for security. Just yesterday, Capitol Police say they arrested a man inside an SUV with a gun on his lap, asking for directions to the court.
Coming up, Tom Cruise like we've never seen him before.
Plus, we hear from this food delivery driver who was hit by a car and still made sure the customer got their sandwich. Time to check the pulse. We begin with a DoorDash driver living up to her name.
Oh yeah, her name is Miracle. She was making a food delivery in Houston when she was hit by a speeding car. Yeah, right there. Court records show the driver wanted for burglary was fleeing police. Despite the terrifying crash, Miracle got up and she even finished delivering that sandwich.
I just wanted to make sure that person got their food. I didn't want them to think I stole it, and I was just trying to get my bills paid.
Thankfully, she was not seriously injured. The driver was arrested, by the way. Next, a new look for Tom Cruise.
He made a dramatic transformation for his upcoming film, and we're getting a first look at him in the trailer for Digger. Cruise plays an eccentric oil baron on a mission to save the world from a major disaster.
Cruise says he has never been so challenged by a role. Digger hits theaters in October, and boy, is he unrecognizable.
Didn't recognize him.
Right. Next, a pilot who was simply bored.
We know that because he spelled it out for us. A flight tracking website shows his route taking off from the airport in Liverpool, England, and flying a precise route to spell the words, "I'm bored." He was conducting a test flight in a small plane.
Message received. And hey, speaking of planes, World Cup soccer star Erling Haaland was spotted getting off a plane in Norway with that unusual carry-on, a stuffed raccoon holding a whiskey bottle. Haaland reportedly bought it at the Western store in Dallas. He's asking fans for help naming the raccoon.
I love him.
Next, a real-life game of Monopoly coming to Netflix.
It's said to be a reality competition based on the board game. 12 contestants will reportedly fight it out on a life-sized Monopoly town square. Bankrupt players will be eliminated, and the last person standing gets $2 million as a grand prize. And finally, Olive Garden is bringing back an old favorite.
For the first time in 7 years, it's offering the never-ending Pasta Pass. $100 will get you all the pasta, soup, salad, and breadsticks you can handle over a 13-week period.
It goes on sale Thursday, and only 10,000 will be sold. Headlines next. Checking more top stories. Protests were held in Maine last night after a man was shot and killed by an ICE agent. Immigration advocates say the victim was from Colombia and was authorized to work in the U.S. ICE says the man was not the intended target, but tried to flee and jeopardized public safety.
A construction worker's death near Houston is being investigated as a possible homicide. Police say the victim might have been pushed down a 30-foot shaft after an altercation with a colleague. So far, no arrests.
The U.S. launched another night of attacks on Iran, and Iran responded by targeting Jordan and Bahrain. President Trump is reinstating the blockade of Iranian ports today. He also says the U.S. will charge a fee on all cargo passing through the Strait of Hormuz, but did not say how he'd do it.
House lawmakers are expected to vote this week on a bill that would make daylight saving time permanent after clearing a major committee hurdle yesterday. President Trump supports the bill, which offers states the chance to opt out.
Today's weather, storms in New England and the southeast, heavy rain in parts of Texas, and record heat from the southwest to the Great Lakes.
And finally, the love connection made at the airport.
One woman spotted her man and then turned to the internet to track him down.
Cleveland, where love has just landed.
This whole thing has been going crazy, and I didn't think any of this would happen.
Grace Rombach never expected to find love on her way to her Florida vacation. She arrived late at Cleveland Hopkins Airport last week, boarding her plane barely on time, settled into her seat when Cupid struck.
And I noticed like a couple of maintenance people kind of got on and they were walking to the back of the plane. And I looked up and I saw a very handsome man. So I was going to say something to him. He was standing right next to me. I kind of smiled. We made eye contact, and then he walked right past me.
If this was 1986, that would have been the end of the story. Thankfully for Grace, we now have the internet. specifically Reddit, where Grace took a stab in the dark with this post addressed to the dark-haired maintenance guy at the Cleveland airport.
I thought it was going to be like every other Reddit post I've ever made and have like 5 likes.
But it worked like a charm, going viral, with the airport contacting her and doing what airports do best, making the connection.
I had a message from the guy, his name is Simon, and he said, "You called."
Over the weekend, Grace returned to Cleveland and they finally got together, this time for real.
It's good to see you, and it's just been an interesting week.
And as for Grace, she's touched that so many people helped her to make her ultimate connection.
It was really sweet to see kind of like the city of Cleveland specifically come together to help me find a man.
Love when the internet does its thing. Turns out you can catch feelings and flights.
I love it.
That's your Good Morning America First Look.
Have a great day.